Okay, good morning, bows and bow ties. It's the Black Opinionated Woman, also known as a bow. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. Look, this is not a well prepared, thought out answer. I'm going off the cuff, okay? Because that's just what I'm gonna do. So look, you see the title. It says tokens get spent. Look, I know what it's like. Oh, my ear was itching. So I know what it's like to be a token. I know what it's like when I've seen other tokens, right? They say tokens get spent. So when basically You can be you can be used, and once they're done with you, once they spend up all your energy, once they spend up all your usefulness, then they're done with you, right? You're done with the token. That's how I always interpret it. But basically, the tokens get spent. And so I just want to talk about a couple people. First, we're going to start with Bazoma from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Now, look, let me just say this. Don't judge me. That's one of the franchises I still watch, but not timely, right? I just don't have a lot of cycles. So I tend to like either miss the episode and I'll catch up on some. Maybe something might come in through my TikTok or whatever, like a clip or something. So when I talk about the tokens, I'm going to talk about Bazoma from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Stephen A. Smith. But I want to start with Bart. When she first came on in the season, I know I was late to the season catching it, but I had to binge watch. And I was like, I don't like her. I'm going to tell you the reason why I did not like her. I felt like she came on and it felt like this. I don't know if she was like cosplaying black, even though she is black, but like, I'm like, what is happening? I don't know what it was, but she was like, oh, I could never, and all this other stuff, right? And I don't know what it is, but it's not like the women of Beverly Hills, at least what they have put in front of us, have been down. Like, hey, girl, like, you know what I mean? They weren't like, like how you can, could be demonstrative, right? So, like, they weren't giving that kind of a lot of people like to use the word energy. They weren't giving that kind of energy. So I just thought it was strange that she came on and she was like so attached to this Dorit character. And I do call her a character because everything about her is contrived, right? Like the way she talks, the way she acts, I never, I just, I didn't really take to her. I didn't like hate her. I just was like, I could do without her. But it felt like Dorit was vomiting her whole divorce stuff onto Bazoma or Bose, whatever they call her. And it was like they had this trauma bond. Okay, they trauma bonded really, really early, and I just thought it was just so bizarre that she built this relationship off of leaning in, using up Bose's currency. Now Bose's currency was that she was new, she was not entrenched in all the shenanigans, and she could now, I think, fix her image because Garcelle called her out for several of her microaggressions. Now there are people who are going to say that Garcelle liked to play the race card, and I think two things can be true. I think she kind of played it up a little bit, but there was something to be said for some of the things that she said. So Dorit used Bose's currency, and Boz, allowed herself to be used because she wanted to be able to fit in right away. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, when she's done trauma bonding with you, and Garcelle has now she has exited this show, and I'm like, Bose doesn't understand now what? What is your currency now? They don't need you anymore. Garcelle was like deuces. They got her up off the show. Same thing that Sutton did. Sutton used Garcelle. She used Garcelle for currency because Sutton is awkward and didn't know how to connect with these other rich wealthy people. Some of them are not wealthy, but you know what I mean? She wanted to be that it person. Sutton has always had low self-esteem, and so she had to align herself with someone until she could find a way to get her in. And so you got these two women who look like me get on this show and allow themselves to be tokenized and cape for women who will not cape for them, by the way. They're not going to do it. I want you to watch how it's going to play out. And now they're the ones who are going to have egg on their face. And so I'm looking at Boz and I'm like, they will spend that token. And when I said that I saw her come on the show in the very beginning, okay, for those of you, I know you don't want to hear about this, but I just did not take to her. And I think it's just because I've worked in corporate America long enough. I've seen Boz's before. I've seen this. I've read this chapter before. I know how it ends. Now, I must warn you, because I'm taking the side roads for a moment, you know, my video may get a little wonky for a moment before, you know, it clears back up. So just be patient. It's usually not very long. It's for not a long moment. I would say a short moment. So don't judge me. But I'm going to continue on with what I'm saying, and hopefully the bulk of what I am saying will come through. I have seen this before. I've seen the Boz character before, right? Now, when you listen to her resume, she was the chief executive officer, I believe, or marketing officer or somebody of like Netflix, and I think, was it Pepsi or something? I can't remember, but they read her resume on one of those shows, like a Jimmy Fallon show or whatever. I saw that on TikTok, and it's impressive. But we all know when you rise to the top in those kinds of companies, you've got to be cutthroat, especially when you're tokenized. And let me just say this, Boz is a big woman, right? She's a beautiful woman, but she's big. She's tall. She's not skinny like Beverly Hills wants them to be, right? She's a big girl. She's beautiful, but she's big. And check this out. I'm going to say something that you guys are not going to want me to say. She's big and dark. And you know how people are when you're in these spaces, the darker you are. Yeah, I said it. She's a big black woman. When I say big, she's not fat, but she's tall. I think she must be about 6 feet tall. And she's a little, like, she's not like thick. It's just that she's not slim, if that makes any sense. She's got it going on. Like, let's be clear. But I can see how she can be imposing, right? And so when you listen to her, and she's like, I guess trying to bring out all of the colloquialisms, or I don't know, like, oh no, I could never. Girl, that was some shade. Like, I'm like, I'm telling you right now, that woman is someone you watch out for. I've seen this in corporate America before, when you're the only one, and she knows she has a huge presence. And she's gorgeous on top of that, right? So she gets to use her beauty and her stature. So when you're a big black woman, that is intimidating. So I know she's had to step on some people, had to make allies of people to get to, because like, I've seen this before. I have seen this before. And she's one of those that will disassociate herself from people based off what I have seen. Now, I don't know this woman from a can of paint. I'm going based off of what I have observed multiple times over. Okay? Now, I look, y'all can judge me all you want, but she's the one that you watch out for. And I don't understand why she would go on a TV show and participate in the shenanigans that she did against this woman, against Garcelle. So I'm just saying, I clocked her from the moment she got on the show. And it's so funny because people who are like me, real ones, they'll be like, yeah, watch out for that one. Like I said, when you're the token and you're trying to get into a group or something like that, tokens always get spent. I've learned, I'm thinking, like, this is like many, many years ago. you know, you're thinking that you're like friends with people or whatever it is. And I'm like, oh, I was a token. I got spent. See, then you learn. You live and learn. See, this is why you need more people who are like middle aged getting out here on this app and they're talking about these things. They're giving the real. I'm thinking like, oh, I get along with these people, blah, 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 because I try to get along with everybody. I mean, I'm going to be who I am. I like my people. Don't get me wrong. But I also had other groups of relationships and didn't realize, like I knew logically, but I was foolish enough to think that, oh, this was genuine. I was a token and I got spent. And so Garcelle learned the hard way with Sutton, and Bose is going to learn with Dorit because she trauma bonded. That's how she got in. And Erica's nobody's friend. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting when you get these people coming onto these shows and they think that they are like them. And that song is so apropos. Let me tell you, when Kendrick Lamar came out with They Not Like Us, They Not Like Us. Yes, Boz is not like us. And she's I think she's from the islands anyway, and a lot of times people who are from the islands try to disassociate themselves from regular black people anyway, so I'm like, whatever. But enough about her. I want to talk about Stephen A. Smith for a second. Let me just say this other token, hit dogs will holler. Because he is hollering a lot out here in social media. I don't know why he is that obsessed with LeBron. You got all these LeBron haters out there. Okay, fine. But like, you have to admit, it is just so weird that he is literally on this campaign to talk about LeBron. He is a token for ESPN. Let's be clear. He has had this meteoric rise to the top. And, you know, when you think you have all this power, let me be clear. Stephen A. Smith needs to understand. He thinks he has power. He has the power that has been granted to him by that network. He really, let me, look, remember when I told you guys that Kanye West thought he was powerful because he had his brand out there, right? They were manufacturing a shoe and he lent his name, his brand out there, right? And then when they were done with him, right, they got what they wanted and they were like, we spent this token and like, we're done with you. And then Kanye West got on, you know, the media, social media or whatever, whining and crying about how they want to take a black man down. They want to take away the fact that he's a billionaire, some foolishness. I'm like, you are the biggest dum dum, and the black people who believed what he was saying, because I was like, you are so stupid. When you had the opportunity to build like a manufacturing or whatever, so that you can manufacture your own shoe, you didn't do it. When you had the opportunity to start a bank, you didn't do it, right? Because then not only did they say we don't want to manufacture your shoe, I believe it was J.P. Morgan and Chase was like, your money is no longer welcome here since you like to talk about the Jews. We feel like your comments are inflammatory and anti-Semitic. And then they also silenced him for a period of time on social media. He didn't start his own social media platform. He didn't do any of those foundational things. All he did was just lend his brand, which is nothing wrong with that. But you think that you are in power, and they reminded you like you don't run anything. Get off of my platform. Get out of my bank. Take your shoe back. You can't make a shoe. Get out of my manufacturing. We're not producing your shoe anymore. That's what I think of when I see Stephen A. Smith. They put a battery in his back, you know, he's like the marionette. They're like jumping. He's like, how high? And he constantly likes to tear down these athletes. Don't get me wrong. Some of these athletes need a reality check, but to sit there and to try to eviscerate LeBron lets me know this is like a child. As soon as he had an opportunity to leverage the power that was bestowed upon him, he took advantage and tried to really just excoriate this man. Stephen A. Smith is a man-child. I actually think he is jealous of LeBron. LeBron won't give him an interview. And for all the weirdo LeBron James haters out there, you don't have to like this guy, but the fact that people are still living off of things like he said he's going to take his talents to Miami. So what? He was a child. He was a young kid. You know how many people make mistakes? You guys are so freaking weird. They're like, he's not Jordan. He doesn't have to be Jordan. Two different eras. I don't understand why you guys are continuously comparing him to Jordan. Jordan was not even known for being a nice person, talk to the people in North Carolina. Since you want to deep dive into everything else about somebody versus just the play. I don't care if you think he's the best or not. I don't care. I just don't understand like this extreme hate towards this man. And especially Stephen A. Smith. And it's like I think he feels like this is the one thing he has over LeBron. I don't think LeBron cares about him. Stephen A. Smith is a weird looking dude who is really quite small if you think about it. I'm not talking stature. He is a small person that wants to tear down people. He claims that he's doing journalism. What he's doing is not journalism. It is not. To sit there and go after another man that looks like you over and over and over again. You're talking about his game, and I'm just kind of like, if it's just his gameplay, fine. But it's so weird and creepy. It's giving fan, like secret fan. I wouldn't be surprised if he had like LeBron James panties or something made. Like, it's just weird that he is that obsessed with LeBron. And so anyway, I feel like Stephen A. Smith is a token. The network uses him all the time so that he can do all this dirty work. Like, they let him go out of his way to tear down athletes that look like him. He doesn't have that same energy against other athletes. Like, remember the guy that was out, guy that was allegedly engaged in, I don't know, some not so good behavior with young girls. It's so weird. Like, when other people do things, I didn't see him going that hard on Brett Favre and the scandal. Now, maybe he did. I didn't see it. I didn't see him going that hard on, and maybe he did, because I do have a life, so I don't sit there and watch him every waking moment. But like, I remember Ben Roethlisberger. I've heard, like, people call him Roethlisberger, but Ben Roethlisberger, right? When he had some allegations against him, taking advantage of women. Like, I don't see him doing that. Like, and I'm just going off the top of my head. Like I said, this wasn't a well thought out video. This was just like, what? I'm just gonna come live and just say some things. Like that. That's what it is. I'm gonna say, and then I'm gonna move on. I just find him to be strange. It's just so strange. We've got March Madness going on. We've got possible draft discussions. There's so much going on that we could be talking about right now with March Madness alone. But he would rather sit here and have a conversation about LeBron. How come we're not talking about women's lacrosse in college, right? And I know it's a smaller market, but like, women's lacrosse is getting off right now, and men's lacrosse. We could be talking about lacrosse right now, but you know what? He wants to sit there and talk about LeBron. It's so weird. I'm just telling you, it's just weird. And I'm just I think he secretly wants his approval. He wants LeBron to give him some attention. And then he got mad when LeBron finally gave it to him. He was so butthurt. He said it was LeBron. I'm like, he was the butthurt one. He's the one out here behaving ridiculously. He was the one that was hollering and going on like everything. Like, he has to talk about it over and over and over again. He goes on these long rants. It's just weird. It's so weird. I always say, men who look like me right now, they don't do anything but create these ridiculous podcasts and then talk like crazy topics, like shenanigans. It's weird. I said what I said. All right. So it wasn't well thought out. Please forgive me. I feel like people, when they are tokens in these environments where there's not many that are doing what they're doing, and on the one hand, you want to laud and applaud, them achieving something, but then you start to wonder, like, okay, what is really happening here? Especially somebody like a boss. I'm like, She is the token that will get spent. And there's so much I could say about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but I'm not going to even go there because at the end of the day, I don't care that much. But I just want to talk about spending these tokens, And your time, everybody's time will come. I remember I was like, oh, well, I was the dumb dumb. And then, people will come back and try to apologize later. They'll try to apologize later, but then, you're wiser. I'm like, sometimes they may not, But anyway, I said what I said. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at somebody else. Go argue by yourself. I'm interested in hearing an opinion, but I don't like to argue. All right. That's all I've got. Make sure. Now, look, I just want you to understand. Here comes my totally hypocritical stance. You guys need to get off of some of these whacked out weirdo podcasts. But make sure you pay attention to all of mine. I'm not a whacked out weirdo, though. So get off of theirs, come watch mine. This is the opportunity for you to subscribe. I'm curious to hear your thoughts, and if you think there's something that you want me to talk about, let me know. I've definitely pulled back a little bit from making a whole bunch of videos, by the way, because I didn't have a whole lot I wanted to say, and sometimes less is more, right? I just kind of just let there be some time in between, just let the channel breathe a little bit, and then if I really wanted to say something, I'll just pop out here. Sometimes you just gotta pop out and show them. By the way, the hair is hairing, isn't it? Because I had to cut so much over the last year or two off, let my hair grow back, and I was going through it. I had to put hair medicine in. Look, it was a whole journey, but it's doing better now. So hopefully in the next year or so, I'll be time.